Okay, so I was in this forum and this gentleman asked a question. He said, why do I have all these health anxieties? Little things happen and I start to blow them out of proportion. And if you saw my past video, I had talked about equilibrium. Really, for me, I think it's all about equilibrium. When you're not in a balanced state, homeostasis, and your body's out of whack, then you will not be able to handle as much stress. So let's put it in an analogy. Let's say there's two boats in the middle of the ocean, okay? You're in this little tugboat, and then the person over there is in this massive cruise ship. And you're just both trying to get from point A to point B. Now, the tugboat that you're in, there starts to get a little bit of wind, and the wind picks up, and you get a little bit of waves, and water gets in your boat. You know, it sort of takes you off course a little bit, and takes you a little bit to get back on course. Doesn't affect the cruise ship at all, right? It's so big. The waves mean nothing. And then think about a storm. A storm comes, and the storm comes, and the wave, they're like massive waves now, and your boat's been flipped over. You're just barely hanging on. Your legs are on the water. You're trying to pull yourself back up, and the cruise ship, it rocks a little bit. It gives it some motion, but not that big of a deal. It still continues to go on course while you're wet. Maybe also, just scrounging to get back on the boat. So that really is really what's happening. So when your body is out of homeostasis, you got to think yourself in a little tugboat, and those waves are stressors. So when you get everyday stressors like those little waves, if you're in a cruise ship, it's just like water off a duck's back. No big deal. You can deal with it. It's so effectively, they can hit you and you'll just be like, no problem. Like, I mean, sure, you'd have to take some actions or whatever, but you don't dwell on these things, right? And then think about the tugboat. These little waves still cause you to go off course, and that's the same. That's what happens. So that's your body out of equilibrium, out of homeostasis. You're in that little tugboat. When you're in a balanced state, you're in a cruise ship. Okay, and think of that analogy. And if you're being stressed by everyday little things, then your body's definitely out of homeostasis, and you probably need to bring it to a more balanced state. So the question is, how do we do that? Well, 3 things I found in my past, in my history going through chronic fatigue, extreme anxiety, OCD. The 3 main things that I found for me, number 1 was physical stress on the body. So I was overtraining. So I thought, working out was good, but it is good if you're feeding your body properly and giving the right nutrients, and you're not stressed, and you're living a holistic life. I believe the body can adapt to these high levels of stress. But for most people, they're not in this top shape, but they'll go out and they may do too much exercise that's not good for them. I was doing 2-hour runs, and then I was drinking a bunch of beer and not eating the best and not resting the best. Emotional stress, all of that got me out of whack. So that's the second thing. Second thing would be your food intake. Now, obviously eating healthy, cutting out gluten, all that stuff can be great. And I've done it, and it's made huge impact. But you want to try to find out what things you're intolerant to. And now you can get a test done from a naturopath. The naturopath can do a blood test and show you what foods impact your body. So when you eat them, it's like a stress to the body, and it sees it as an invader. Now, you don't have to do the blood test. You could just try. I mean, I've noticed if I can tell by my own body. If I eat something and I'm feeling sluggish or bloated, or it's just sitting in my stomach for a while, it's not digesting, I know it's not really working for me. So you can do trial and error. You can try taking out gluten for 30 days and see how you feel, sugar, and then see how you feel, corn, and see how you feel. So you dairy. So do these all separately and just kind of see how you feel after the 30 days. And it's only 30 days, and if it makes a big impact, you'll know that gluten is an issue for you. And then the last thing, and for me, the most important fundamental, is stimulants. So stuff like coffee and alcohol is honestly not good, especially on a regular basis, especially, right? And even if you're doing like benders on the weekends and your body doesn't have enough time to recuperate because you're like 3-4 days to get back to a good state and then you're drinking again, well, that's not good. Now, I still drink alcohol. It's really, really tough not to. But I know sort of my limits and what I can do to stay at a more balanced state. Like I have a couple of drinks. I know kind of where my threshold is. And coffee, well, I can tell you, I really reduced my intake until a little while ago, and then I just cut it out completely about 6 days ago, and I'm feeling way better. I'll do a video on that as well. So those are the 3 things you gotta look for. If you're overtraining, you gotta cut that back. If you're not eating right, look to see what you can eat to create a better diet that's gonna make your body feel better, and then most importantly, stimulants like coffee and alcohol. Now, more important than anything is from what I'm going to say, anytime that's going to take your body out of homeostasis is going to be stimulants and your diet. So if you can fix those 2 things, the other things, like if you don't take in stimulants and you have a great diet, you can train all you want. That in my opinion, I think your body's just so much more resilient when you're feeding it the right things. Oh, I forgot the last thing. Emotional stress is another factor, but like I said, if your diet is good, if you're in a more balanced state and you've got a cruise ship going on, then those emotional things, they won't affect you as much. So if you're going through your day-to-day and you're really stressed out, even little things stress you out, like you've got this meeting and you're like, it's like, well, it's just a meeting, right? You've got a presentation, you're overly stressed, or someone says something to you and it replays and replays and replays. Well, that means your body's just not in a very balanced and a wholesome state. Now, the other thing you can do, and I'm just gonna leave this out there as an add-on. This is something to add on, but the most important things are food and diet, stimulants. But if you wanna get to a more balanced state faster, do those things first. They're the most important. Meditation is the other thing. So even if you take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to bring your body down into a more balanced state, more, what's the word? Oh my goodness. Parasympathetic state. So you want to get out of sympathetic state and bring yourself into a more calm state. So meditation is fantastic, but if you keep eating bad and you keep using stimulants, meditation won't do a thing. I'm going to tell you that right now, and I'll do a video on that later too. But you can't just meditate. You have to do the other stuff first. That's the foundation. All right? Hope that helped, and hope you can get yourself back to homeostasis where everything feels a lot better. Thank you. Bye.